Hi there. Recently I did a project in which I used Sonic Pi to simulate the musical game Simon, where you produce a sequence of sounds and coloured lights or LEDs, and this slowly gets longer and longer, and each time a new member of the sequence is generated, you have to input by memory what you think the sequence is up to that point. And the idea is to get the longest possible sequence before you make a mistake. Well, the previous project I did was done on a Raspberry Pi 3, and it used LEDs and push buttons and an LCD display all connected to the GPIO pins on the Raspberry Pi, and it worked very nicely. But it does take quite a long time to set it up. So I thought it would be nice to extend the project and use as a virtual input and output device the program TouchOSC. Now, if you've not come across this, it's a little program, very modest in price, about £5, which runs on an iPad or an iPhone or an Android touch device, and it enables you to simulate input and output devices on the screen, and therefore makes it very quick and easy to make really quite a nice looking display using all these devices. And if you look on the bottom right hand corner of my screen, you can see a recording being set up of the screen of my iPad, and that has the touchpad display which I've designed for running this. It's got 4 rectangles on it with outer colours of green, red, blue and yellow, and in the middle of those there's going to be a large LED which will light up when you click in any one of those particular rectangles. The whole thing is controlled by means of Sonic Pi, and as the name TouchOSC implies, it all depends upon sending OSC messages to and from Sonic Pi, and that is a feature which was added in version 3 of Sonic Pi, and really greatly enhances its usage for projects like this. So I'm not going to explain the program in great detail. There are quite a lot of comments on the program. The logic is quite involved, but it is reasonably well explained, and there will be a link to the software where you can pick up the program and the template for the TouchOSC screen, so that if you have TouchOSC you can very easily run it yourselves. And although I'm demonstrating it on a Mac here because it makes it much easier for me to do the recording, the video, I will also in the course of this video show you it operating on a Raspberry Pi 3 using Sonic Pi and a second TouchOSC device, because I've got my phone set up to work on that setup. So without further ado, let's run the program, and when I run it, the Sonic Pi program will immediately start off with its first turn, and if you look at the display of the iPad on the bottom right, you'll see this happening. Here goes. There you are. The first turn the computer had was to flash the blue LED, and our response has got to be to duplicate that. And we get all 4 LEDs coming on briefly if we get it right, and the computer immediately goes on to the next sequence, which was blue-yellow. Another one right. Notice the score goes up and the high score. I'll make a mistake there. And we get a different response from the screen and an audible response as well. And notice the high score stays at 5, the maximum length we got right, and our own score for this particular turn goes back to 0 because we haven't got any of this sequence right. Now I can't remember because I was talking what it was that the computer did, but there is actually a cheat crib, because the display of Sonic Pi down here shows you the current pattern, which has only got one element in it, which is a Y. So let's press the yellow, and you'll notice the screen says the score is 1, the high score is 5, well done, and the pattern is now set to Y and B. So let's try that. That's yellow and blue. We got that right. It's not surprising because I read it off the screen. Yellow, blue, red. Yellow, blue, red. That's right. And so on. This time I'll get one wrong. The sequence is yellow, blue, red, blue. I'll do yellow, blue, red, but I'll put green in. We got that wrong, and the score goes back to 0. So you can see that the whole thing works very nicely. You may have noticed too that at the bottom, your turn changes to computer turn when it's generating a sequence and then changes back to prompt you. Well, I'm going to switch my iPad over to look at its camera. So we'll come out of that and turn the camera on, because if I come over here, you can see that I've got another monitor running here, and that is running Sonic Pi also, but it's connected to an iPad down here. You can see the HDMI lead there feeding back up to the monitor, and beside it is my iPhone, and this is already running the program. I can't remember what the sequence is, but I'll just press a button on the iPad. It might be right or it might be wrong. Let's see where my thumb's got to. There we are. Let's just press the yellow one. Oh, it was right. Okay, here's the next one of the sequence. Yellow, blue. That was right too. Yellow, blue, yellow. And we'll get one wrong this time. Whoops. And that was wrong. And it starts a new sequence. And you can see that on the screen here, we've got exactly the same thing run. I'll show you the screen as I run it on the Pi this time. That was green and red. And then the next sequence is green, red, blue. Green, red, blue. Whoops, I must have missed, I missed the red one. Didn't quite actually register. Green. Green, red, green, red, yellow, and in fact my iPad has gone to sleep, so the screen is because there's no textual input to it. So anyway, that shows you the program running. I'll switch this back on to TouchOSC, and we're back where we start from. Hope you enjoyed the program. There's a download link below this video. Thanks for watching.